Well, Jim, on this topic, I know it's your show, but I'll hit this right here. You brought up Jack Perry earlier, and again, this is another topic we just spoke about on the Drive-Thru. Dave Meltzer reported that Tony Khan had been upset with Jack Perry, that Jack Perry had repeatedly apologized to Tony Khan in text messages, never heard back, was told to go through the legal department. He's now in New Japan, ripped up his contract as part of an angle, put on an armband that said scapegoat, because this is what he came up with in his time off. And that was, you remember, we just talked about this.
Yes, I do. Yes. I remember I'm laughing at the idea of Perry going through all of it, but go ahead.
Well, an article on the Wrestling Observer newsletter website, although written by Brian Alvarez, came out after the publication of the Observer. The headline, Jack Perry disputes apologizing for CM Punk fight and was denied AEW release request. Perry wants to set the record straight about the situation at All In. So before I get to this article, Jim, let me just say, there are people who think this is him correcting what Dave wrote, and you can imagine who Dave's source on the other side of that would have been for what Tony Khan was getting tweeted or texted. There are other people who think this is an angle. This is part of his, I'm trying to rip up my contract and get out of AEW while I wrestle for their friend and partner in New Japan, that they're using the website to further the angle. So I'll just give you that perspective here at the start.
Good Lord. Well, the reason why I'm laughing is because when I read the original piece about the matter, there was on the internet, etc., it went into detail that, well, Perry apologized numerous times, and Perry said he was sorry, and then Tony, we were laughing that Tony sent him home, and he doesn't want to talk to him, he doesn't like confrontations, he's mad at him, it got awkward, and then he really got mad at him, probably, when he had to fire Punk over it, and then there was...
And then Survivor Series.
And then Survivor Series, he really got mad, but the point is, it was you could hear Tony, if Uncle Dave had said to Tony Khan, whoa, how does, Perry feel about this? You could tell Tony doesn't want to talk about it. He's sorry. He texted me sorry or something like that. Trey didn't want to talk about it because he didn't want to come out and say, well, I won't talk to him because he makes me feel bad. And so this whole thing is because Tony just sends people home to take their money, get their check, and he don't want to fucking deal with it because it's unpleasant. And, he might be put in a position where I'd say he has to yell at somebody, but I don't know if he's capable of that. But he doesn't want to be put in that position. And so as soon as the story comes out, Perry, the dipshit that he is, wants everybody know, fuck you, I didn't apologize. And yes, it works for him being a scapegoat. It kind of buries that if it's announced worldwide that he apologized for it. But at the same time, he probably didn't even apologize for it because, again, Tony won't talk to these people and get them together and nip this shit in the bud.
Well, here's what Brian Alvarez wrote. Jack Perry both disputes the claim that he continually apologized or asked for forgiveness in the months following his backstage fight with CM Punk at AEW All In August, or that there are any current plans for an AEW return. According to Perry, he didn't hear from AEW head Tony Khan for 2 months following All In at London's Wembley Stadium.
or over at Lundy's Wyndham Stadium.
Perry said he never texted to say he was sorry, and he told Khan's lawyers he would not initiate first contact. Khan finally set up an in-person meeting before Full Gear in Los Angeles, where they discussed plans to bring him back last December. However, after CM Punk returned to WWE at Survivor Series, those plans were scrapped.
Yeah, there you go. And then Tony went, Cadbury, he made me mad. Send him another check, but don't let him come back.
Perry, who had wanted to work Wrestle Kingdom but was unable to for logistical reasons. What was he on vacation? What the fuck does that mean?
It was somewhere he wasn't booked. That'd be a logistical reason.
Then worked with Rocky Romero and Khan to set up his current New Japan Pro Wrestling run. At this point, Perry is still under AEW contract. He asked for a release but was denied, but there are still no plans to bring him back. He hasn't talked to Khan in months, nor cleared anything he has done in storyline for New Japan, like him tearing up an AEW contract or his use of the term scapegoat. So there it is, and it sounds like Brian Alvarez had a good source for Jack Perry's thoughts on this. Dave Meltzer had a good source for the other side of Jack Perry's text messages on this. What's real? What's these guys working and trying to use the wrestling media to further their angles?
Well, again, this isn't... I mean, it may be a lame attempt by somebody to further something in the wrestling media, but it's a halfway decent look at just how haphazard this shit is. Tony gets mad at Perry at Wembley and sends him home, and then is starting to soften up and agrees to talk to him a couple of months later. And, you know, where it's still awkward probably, but I'm sure there was a hug involved. And then he's, okay, well, we'll bring you back in December. But when he sees Survivor Series, he's like, oh, mother Newman. And then Tony, it gets more awkward. So he just leaves him home because he doesn't want to deal with anything. And then Perry's saying, let me out. Let me out. Even though he's sitting at home making money to do absolutely nothing. And let's face it, I think we've established Jack Perry has hit a ceiling of where he's going to be as star-wise in the wrestling business.
Absolutely.
But he said, let me out, let me out. So Tony said, fine, send him to New Japan. Rocky Romero, Rocky is involved in booking American talent or English-speaking talent or however they phrase it. Put that together. He can go do what he wants over there. And then Tony don't have time to fucking think about it. And doesn't want to fucking deal with it. So they're left to their own devices over there. So now Tony has one of his contracted talents going over there and doing whatever the fuck. And he doesn't care, because to care, he would have to, again, man up, walk up to this guy face to face, have direct communication, settle a thing or not, part ways, whatever the fuck. And he don't want to do it. But think about this. However much old Jungle Boy is making, how long's it been since September? October, November, December, January, February, March, coming up on it's 7 months. He's been paying him however much he's making, even though he's mad at him because he won't confront him. Why won't he give him a release? It's not like releasing Perry would damage Tony Khan's business in any way. He's not there anyway. And he wouldn't mean shit if he comes back. He let Punk go, and that did damage his business. But now, so why is he still paying this guy? Because he can't goddamn man up enough to just tell the guy he's fired.
Well, it would upset some of the California boys if they fired him.
Well, then let the California boys start paying him. Dip in, EVPs. You cover his fucking check. What am I getting out of this? That's what Tony ought to be saying. If Tony don't want him back, it won't damage AEW business. If he doesn't come back, can anybody say that it will? Objectively, Brian Last, can anybody say it will negatively affect AEW's business if Jack Perry never returns?
No, it would have no effect whatsoever.
Okay, can anybody say that if Jack Perry was released and immediately joined the WWE, it would be any type of noticeable increase in benefit in terms of any of their business metrics?
I couldn't even envision him on the main roster at this point, so we're only talking NXT in my eyes. And I don't think he would stand out as anything special there.
So if Tony's mad at Jungle Boy because he caused the thing with CM Punk, which he did, and he hasn't spoken to him in months and months, and it wouldn't damage AEW business if Jungle Boy was gone, and it wouldn't damage AEW business if Jungle Boy joined the WWE, then why is he just paying him every fucking month and letting him work other places? Because Tony don't have any balls. This is the proving point of that, the smoking gun, as they say.
The idea that Tony had plans to bring him back and Punk's return at Survivor Series, which we were kind of hearing rumors about for a while, so that wasn't a new thing, that canceled those plans. Beyond the fact that you would have fired him, if he was still there, does something like that change your plans for bringing him back because of, I guess, the public notoriety for the private incident?
I've said many times since this incident that I would have been standing there when old Jungle Boy came back through the curtain so that I could be the first one to fire him. It would be standing in front of fucking Punk, right? But if I had have been stupid enough to fire fucking Punk too, then when Punk debuted at Survivor Series, if I'd have been Tony Khan, I would have hired fucking Jungle Boy back so I could have fired him again. It made him look like shit. There was no reason for it. No reason for a preliminary fucking guy on a pre-show match to fucking piss off the goddamn big star that's standing behind the curtain just because he felt like he could get away with it, and started the whole chain of events in motion, and then led to AEW losing its biggest name and all looking like, and Tony Khan being scared for his life. That whole embarrassing fiasco where he became a meme after a meme after a meme, poor old Tony. And we're still talking about this fucking guy. Why is he still involved with this company?
I hope because
Tony doesn't have the balls to just call him up and tell him off. Because he's afraid somebody will be mad at him. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I hope they bring him back. You know, one of the last enjoyable things last year was the flailing of Jack Perry on TV as he tried to figure out what he was going to be after Jungle Boy. And it was awful. And the sad thing is the Punk incident where Punk kicked his ass, in storyline, it's kind of the perfect ending of him. Because remember, he went from Jungle Boy to coming out to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Yes.
For no reason. The music made no sense. And he was getting weird reactions. And then he was flailing during these promos. And then the glass incident, then he acted like a baby, and then Punk kicked his ass. It was the perfect ending of that character. But there's something about, there were certain people who loved wrestling, big fans, and they get involved with it. And they can do a lot of the moves. Some have great hair. But they never really understand what makes it tick. And I got the feeling he's one of those guys.
Well, I'm thinking that probably the best thing for him to do is be the scapegoat or the billy goat or the nanny goat or the mama goat or the papa goat or whatever, and do whatever he wants with his armbands and his fake AEW contract in New Japan. But I would advise some member of the office staff over there at AEW to suggest to Tony Khan that he might be able to save at least some amount of the millions of dollars that he's losing out of his ass if he just wouldn't pay people to go and sit home for years at a time, because he's just too scared to be confronted with them. Or when he came back, you know what? When he came back, he could have, Joel Jungle Jack, he could have been Dominic Mysterio. He could have had that level of heat if they'd have brought him back and just let him be a whiny little bitch that walks up to people and says shit and they grab him and choke him out. And that's his segment every week. People would have gotten into that.
If Tony had fired Jungle Boy and he was going to debut a new CM Punk promo or a big feud or something on a show, would he have canceled his plans if Jungle Boy was going to debut at Survivor Series?
If Jungle Boy was going to make his debut at Survivor Series, probably the only way that was going to happen is if they fucking shot Survivor Series in goddamn Kenya somewhere.
It's the son of the gobbledygooker! Look at him dance!
And he would probably have his faithful companion Cheetah with him. Yeah, if Vince had got a hold of Jungle Boy in 1995, that could have been ugly.
Yeah.
That could have been some gobbledygookerish type of thing.
He would have fired him and kept Anna Jay. I know how that would have worked out.
Well, are they still an item? What happened to her? Is she still around?
I don't know. She should be on every show.
Go?
Notice the ratings have dropped. The ratings have dropped. They should put the belt on Anna Jay.
Well,
have her go over Samoa Joe.
From the way that it sounds, the more that they take off of her, the more popular the show gets, rather than put the belt on her.
But she could just be out there wearing anything. Anna Jay. But then again, she also dates dipshits, so we can't really judge anything on her. But maybe...
Well, how many dipshits could a dipshit date if a dipshit dated dipshits?
I don't know, Jim, but if you were a dipshit, perhaps you would say, you know what, I look like a dipshit, maybe I should shave.
Why are you doing the transitions?
Oh, this is not my show. This is your show.
It's not your show.
That's right. I take back the transition.
I'll bring it up.
I take it back. I take it back.
Well, since you do bring up the subject... And you are a dipshit, I'd like to tell you how you can shave yourself. Because any old dipshit out there right now that's got $3, I'm talking $3, for $3 measly little dollars, you can get an entire shaving kit that will keep your face soft, smooth, slick, and elegant for, well, a number of days. I don't know how long it depends on how big your face is, how long this wonderful shaving gel will last. But nevertheless, if you got to cover more territory, let's say you're Heyman and your upper face is normal size, but your lower chinel area is the size of a peach basket. You might use more of this product.
Will you leave him alone?
Well, I'm trying to give people a visual comparison that they can instantly recognize. But folks, for $3, you can do that and more to your face if you go to our friends at Harry's over at harrys.com. There is no apostrophe. I found that out the hard way. You can't put an apostrophe in the website. It's just HARRYS.com. Harrys.com. But you get a 5-blade razor, not only the weighted, ergonomically designed handle. Mine is bright orange. I believe they all are. You will not lose it when you're shaving out in the backyard. I know that's sometimes a problem. People, before they go to work in the morning, trying to grab a quick shave out in the backyard, they accidentally drop their razor. They can't find it in the mulch bed under the oak tree. That happens to everybody at one time or another. Well, this thing's orange. What?
Doesn't happen to really anybody ever.
Well, if it does happen to you, you'll be able to find it because this thing's bright hunter orange. And it's ergonomically designed so your hand doesn't go numb, and the tingling in your fingers that leads into a pain that goes all the way up your arm and into your shoulder, where suddenly you want to scream out, "Oh my God, it burns." You see, that happens to a lot of people too when you're holding that razor so long, but this is very pleasing to the grip. And that's the German engineered blades. And we've seen from numerous videos over the years, those Germans they're serious about shit they do, folks. So if they design these things, they're going to be sharper than a serpent's claws. And you also get the foaming shave gel that it'll foam until you can't foam no more. And it'll take all of the unwanted hair and follicles and outer epidermis, everything you want to get off your face. You can scrape it or gouge it off with one of these bad boys. And it's only $3, folks. For the trial set, it's normally $13. Now, that's what a mark would pay if you're walking down the street with chalk on your back. But because you know us and we've smartened you up, the folks at Harry's are going to give this thing to you for $3. A $3 trial set of all, not all, but many of the fine products that they've got that you can get at their website. You can sign up to where they'll deliver these things right to your door. A guy in shorts and high navy blue socks, almost up to his knees, wearing tennis shoes. When I first saw him, he was off-putting, but then when he kept delivering these fine quality shaving implements to my door, well, after a few weeks of seeing him about the same time every day, well, I got kind of used to him. He never speaks. As a matter of fact, he won't look you in the eye, but he will deliver these fine quality Harry's products to you and to your home. What?
Who are you talking about?
Talking about the guy from Harry's. I don't know if it's
the mailman. It will be the mailman. The mailman is the mailman. The mailman is not replaced by someone from Harry's. They don't have their own exclusive courier that goes across the country, this great land of ours, delivering their razors. They send it to you. Again, $3. What a great deal. And you get it via the normal methods of shipping here in the great United States.
So you think it's just me that he's bringing these to?
Who's he? Again,
the guy with the tennis shoes and the tall knee-high navy blue socks that never looks you in the eye and doesn't speak, but he drops off the shaving products.
I think you got some separate issues going on exclusive to you and specifically Louisville than most people would ever have. Your mailman can be trusted. The U.S. Postal Service is your friend. And with that said, I actually am not sure how they ship their products. They sent them to me, and I don't remember if it was FedEx,
well,
UPS,
see,
or the mailman. I'm not sure now.
If the guy's wearing socks, we might have a problem. But folks, anyway, you're not going to get socks, but you will get shaved. And it'll be a clean one and a close one. You'll never have a closer shave than when you part with your money with our friends at Harrys.com. And that's what you need to do right now. Go to Harrys.com/JCE. Harrys.com/JCE. And you're going to get that $13 trial set for just $3. And then you see that you're going to like all these things. And you're going to want more of them. And now they've got you hooked. And then, they're going to tell you exactly how you can get it every month from the guy with the high socks. And
no, you won't, because no one with high socks, and no one's going to be hooked on anything. You're going to get fine razors, and if you need a fine razor, you're going to love the fine razor you get, and you're going to have the ability to get more at a wonderful price from our friends at Harry's.
You know how they make you want more. Sooner or later, with this razor, you're going to nick yourself just a little bit, and that's when the serum goes into your bloodstream.
Again, there's no serum that comes with this. There's no.
It makes you genetically crave a slick-cheeked face, and you must. I think Vince was patient zero. When he would gouge himself with the electric razor.
You see, now you're a liar. Vince McMahon never used Harry's. He used an electric razor like a Neanderthal.
Yeah, that's because they hadn't invented Harry's back then. And that's why he kept gouging himself, because he couldn't get close enough. If he'd have had Harry's, maybe he wouldn't have lost his mental faculties. If Vince McMahon could have finally had Harry's, he would have gotten the close shave that he had always dreamed of, and it wouldn't have made him go absolutely batshitily mad.
Yeah, he went the other way. He got a shitty mustache. He's the opposite of someone who Harry's wants to get behind. Screw that pervert, but let's talk about the pervert that's listening to us right now.
Nobody wants to get behind that pervert. They want to be in front of him where they belong.
Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Harry's, fine products, support them. They support us. Very nice, tolerant people who support us, and we do like their products. What's that promo code, Jim?
Harrys.com/JCE. Get the $3 trial set. I mean, that's couch cushion money, for heaven's sake. $3 to look like a human being. What are you, some kind of caveman? Shave your fucking face.
With Harry's.
Yeah.